The morning of the 7th of July, 1997, Miami Beach, Florida. A small, windowless ground floor shop unit on Washington Avenue called South Beach Pawn and Loan opens for business at 9 in the morning. The pawn shop's owner is a 54-year-old Cuban-American woman named Vivian Olivetti. She has run South Beach Pawn and Loan for 19 years. At 20 past 9 that morning, a tall, slim, well-dressed 27-year-old American man with wire-rimmed glasses and a neatly pressed pale blue polo shirt walks into the shop alone. He places two items on the glass counter in front of Vivian Olivetti. The first is a small 1985 American Liberty 1-ounce gold coin in a clear plastic display case. The second is a small 1910 American gold pocket watch on a slim gold chain. Vivian Olivetti weighs the coin, inspects the watch, and offers the man $190 American for both items. The man accepts. Under Florida state pawn law, every pawn transaction over $100 must be reported to the local police department on a single standardized state form. The form must contain the full legal name and current address of the seller's driver's license number, and a single clean rolled right thumbprint of the seller in black ink. The man on the other side of the counter calmly hands Vivian Olivetti his current California driver's license. He writes his full legal name on the form in clear blue ink. He writes the address of the Miami Beach hotel where he is currently registered. He presses his clean right thumb onto the inked pad and rolls it cleanly across the form. The full legal name he writes on the form is Adrian Philip Carrington. Adrian Philip Carrington has, on the morning of the 7th of July, 1997, been the subject of one of the largest open Federal Bureau of Investigation manhunts in the modern history of the United States for 46 consecutive days. In the previous 9 weeks, he has murdered 4 men across 4 different American states. His face is on the morning of the 7th of July on the front of the FBI 10 Most Wanted Fugitive list. His photograph has been broadcast on every major American national television network every single evening for 6 weeks. Vivian Olivetti that morning does not recognize his face. She files the pawn form. She faxes it, as required by Florida state law, to the Miami field office of the FBI that same afternoon. The fax arrives at the Miami field office at 4:15 on the afternoon of the 7th of July, 1997. The fax is placed in a routine in tray. The Miami field office receives, on average, between 300 and 400 such routine pawn forms every single week. The fax is not read. 8 days later, on the morning of the 15th of July, 1997, Adrian Philip Carrington walks calmly up the front steps of the Ocean Drive mansion of the Italian-American fashion designer Gianni Versace, draws a 1990 American Taurus PT 945 semi-automatic pistol from his waistband, and fires 2 shots into the back of Gianni Versace's head from a distance of less than a meter. How does the most photographed murder suspect in modern American television history walk into a pawn shop on the same beach he has hunted across, leave behind his real name and his real address and his real thumbprint, and remain free for the next 8 consecutive days? Adrian Philip Carrington is born on the 31st of August, 1969, in the small American naval town of National City, California, just south of San Diego. He is the youngest of 4 children. His father is a Filipino-American stockbroker. His mother is an Italian-American homemaker. He is, from an exceptionally young age, identified as a profoundly gifted child. He records a verified IQ score of 147 at the age of 8. By the age of 11, he is reading fluently in classical Greek and Latin. He attends the elite Bishop's Preparatory School in La Jolla, California, on a full academic scholarship from the age of 13. He is voted at the end of his final year of high school, the student his classmates believe is most likely to be remembered. He is at the age of 17, already a compulsive, habitual, pathological liar. He tells his classmates that his father is a Filipino plantation owner. He tells his classmates that his mother is the daughter of a Sicilian count. He tells his classmates that he himself attended kindergarten in Manila, in primary school in Rome, and that he is fluent in 7 languages. None of it is true. He graduates from Bishop's Preparatory School in June of 1987 with the highest grade point average in his entire class. He enrolls at the University of California, San Diego that autumn. He does not finish his first year. In the summer of 1989, Adrian Carrington abandons his university course and moves alone to San Francisco. He is 19 years old. He invents in San Francisco a completely new public identity for himself. He introduces himself to every new person he meets as Andrew Da Silva, a half-Italian, half-American architect from a wealthy Manila-based shipping family. He becomes, within 18 months, a high-end professional male escort for a small private circuit of wealthy older gay men in the San Francisco Bay Area. He is, by his early 20s, receiving a regular weekly allowance of approximately $2,500 American dollars from a single primary benefactor, a wealthy older San Francisco gentleman named Norman Bradshaw. The allowance pays for a small, comfortable rented apartment in the Pacific Heights district of San Francisco. A black 1991 BM 525i Carrington has been gifted use of, and a wardrobe of tailored Italian suits. Carrington enjoys, between the ages of 22 and 26, what is by every external measure a comfortable and stable life. In November of 1996, Norman Bradshaw informs Adrian Carrington that the weekly allowance will be reduced from $2,500 to $1,000. Carrington does not take the news well. In April of 97, the weekly allowance is reduced again. In late April of 1997, Adrian Carrington tells everyone he knows in San Francisco that he is leaving the city for a short holiday in the Midwest of the United States to visit two old college friends, a former American Navy officer named Jeffrey Tully and a Minneapolis architect named David Madsen. He buys a one-way airline ticket to Minneapolis. The Minneapolis architect David Madsen lives in a small, modern apartment in the Loring Park neighborhood of Minneapolis. Adrian Carrington arrives at Madsen's apartment on the evening of the 25th of April, 1997. He is invited to stay as a guest for the duration of his Minneapolis holiday. On the evening of the 29th of April, 1997, Jeffrey Tully, the former American Navy officer and a longtime mutual friend of both Carrington and Madsen, arrives at Madsen's apartment for dinner with the two men. Jeffrey Tully does not leave the apartment alive. His body is found 4 days later by a friend who had been concerned. He has been struck 27 times in the back of the head with a small claw hammer. The hammer is found beside the body. David Madsen is missing. So is Adrian Carrington. David Madsen's body is found 2 days after Jeffrey Tully's on the 3rd of May, 1991, on the gravel shoreline of East Rush Lake, an isolated stretch of rural Wisconsin lakeland, approximately 45 miles northeast of Minneapolis. He has been shot 3 times. The car he had been driving is found abandoned a half-mile away. The murder weapon, a stolen .40 caliber semi-automatic pistol, is gone. So is Adrian Carrington. On the morning of the 4th of May, 1990, in the wealthy Gold Coast neighborhood of Chicago, Illinois, a 72-year-old retired American real estate developer named Louis Mervyn is murdered in the locked garage of his Astor Street mansion. His hands and feet are bound with American-grade duct tape. The body is found by his wife the following morning, wrapped in clear plastic sheeting and laid neatly beneath the family's black 1996 Lexus saloon car. The Lexus is gone. So is Adrian Carrington. On the 9th of May, 1997, the body of a 45-year-old American cemetery caretaker named William Reese is found in the small, wood-paneled caretaker's house of a quiet rural national cemetery in Pennsville, New Jersey. He has been shot once in the back of the head at point-blank range with the same .40 caliber pistol that killed David Madsen 6 days earlier. His personal red 1995 Chevrolet pickup truck is gone. So is Adrian Carrington. 3 days later, on the 12th of May, 1990, the same red 1995 Chevrolet pickup truck is parked quietly and legally in a public car park in Miami Beach, Florida. Adrian Carrington checks into room 322 of the modest 2-story Normandy Plaza Hotel on Collins Avenue, Miami Beach, on the afternoon of the 12th of May, 1990, under the false name Kurt Matthews. He pays for the room in cash, 1 week at a time, for the next 8 consecutive weeks. On the 12th of June, 1990, his face is added to the Federal Bureau of Investigation 10 Most Wanted Fugitive list. His photograph is broadcast on the front of every major American national television evening news broadcast that night, and on every subsequent evening for the next 6 weeks. During those same 8 weeks, Carrington walks calmly out of the Normandy Plaza Hotel almost every evening, walks the 4 blocks south down Collins Avenue to the famous News Café restaurant on Ocean Drive, orders the same cappuccino and the same Italian newspaper, and reads the newspaper alone at a small outside table for between 45 minutes and 1 hour. The owner of the Ocean Drive mansion directly opposite the News Café outdoor seating area is the 50-year-old Italian-American fashion designer, Gianni Versace. Gianni Versace has, for the past 3 years, walked alone from his Ocean Drive mansion to the News Café restaurant every single morning at approximately 8:30 for breakfast, and to buy the same selection of Italian magazines from a small newsstand opposite the cafe. Adrian Carrington has been watching him for 8 weeks. On the morning of the 15th of July, 1997, Gianni Versace steps out of the front door of his Ocean Drive mansion at 22 minutes past 8 in the morning. He walks the short distance to the News Café. He buys his usual selection of Italian magazines. He turns back towards his mansion. He climbs the front steps of the mansion at 20 minutes to 9. Adrian Carrington steps out from behind a tall, green-painted concrete planter at the foot of the steps. He draws the 1990 American Tourist PT-945 semi-automatic pistol from the waistband of his pale gray shorts. He fires 2 single rounds into the back of Gianni Versace's head from a distance of less than 1 meter. Gianni Versace falls onto the marble front steps of his own mansion. Adrian Carrington turns calmly and walks south down Ocean Drive into the morning crowd. He is photographed on closed-circuit television within 90 seconds of the murder by 3 separate Ocean Drive security cameras. The Federal Bureau of Investigation Miami Field Office launches the largest single suspect manhunt in the modern history of the city of Miami at 3 o'clock that same afternoon. Federal agents establish a single fixed 8-block road cordon around the entire Ocean Drive mansion block. 200 Miami-Dade County police officers are reassigned full-time to the search. Adrian Carrington is, on the afternoon of the 15th of July, 1997, asleep on a small private houseboat moored at 5250 Collins Avenue, Miami Beach, exactly 52 blocks north of the Ocean Drive mansion. He has been sleeping on the houseboat for the previous 3 nights. The houseboat is registered to a 50-year-old German national named Torsten Reinhardt. Reinhardt is not in Miami. The houseboat has been empty since the 2nd of July. On the morning of the 23rd of July, 1997, 8 days after the murder of Gianni Versace, the houseboat's caretaker, a 68-year-old retired Portuguese ferryman named Fernando Carrera, calls the Miami Beach Police Department to report a suspected intruder on the houseboat. The first 2 Miami Beach police officers arrive at the houseboat at 12 minutes to 5 in the afternoon. They knock. They receive no answer. They walk a single, slow circuit of the upper deck. They find the boat apparently empty. They leave. At 5:30 that same evening, the same 2 officers return to the houseboat with a full Miami Beach Police Department tactical response team and a federal hostage rescue team. They breach the master bedroom door of the houseboat at 12 minutes past 6. They find Adrian Philip Carrington lying alone in the bed of the master bedroom. He has died from a single self-inflicted gunshot wound to the inside of the mouth, fired from the same 1990 American Tourist PT-945 semi-automatic pistol he used to murder Gianni Versace on the steps of the Ocean Drive mansion 8 days earlier. He has been dead, the federal medical examiner will later confirm, for approximately 28 hours. He has not, at any single point during the previous 9 weeks, given any single explanation for why he murdered Jeffrey Tully or David Madsen, or Louis Mervyn, or William Reese, or Gianni Versace. He took every single answer with him. On the morning of the 24th of July, 1997, the day after the discovery of Adrian Carrington's body, a 31-year-old junior clerk at the Federal Bureau of Investigation Miami field office is asked to sort the backlog of unread routine Florida State pawn form fax reports from the previous 3 weeks. She finds in the pile a single Florida State pawn form fax dated the 7th of July, 1990, faxed to the office that afternoon from a South Beach pawn and loan branch on Washington Avenue. The fax contains a clean signed legal California driver's license number under the legal name Adrian Philip Carrington, the registered home address of a Miami Beach hotel 4 blocks from the Ocean Drive mansion of Gianni Versace, and a single clean rolled black ink right thumbprint. The junior clerk reads the fax in full at 17 minutes past 11 on the morning of the 24th of July, 1997. She marks the date and the time the form was first received by the office at the top of the page in red ink. She places the fax inside a sealed manila evidence envelope. The fax has by that point sat unread in the Miami field office mailroom for 17 consecutive days. During 15 of those 17 days, Gianni Versace was alive. If you want to understand the only American killer in modern history whose face was on the cover of every American national television news broadcast for 46 consecutive days, while he sat in a hotel room in plain sight in Miami Beach, drinking cappuccino at the Café across the street from the man he intended to murder. Watch our next case. Because the next killer was not American. He was the only killer in modern Russian history to be sentenced to death 3 times by 3 different Soviet courts.